So Canada's like a totally failed state. I know you know that, and now it's really sinking in. Like, you batted it around a couple of different times, but now if you speak up about things that they're even getting rid of, like, there are barely any COOF restrictions still remaining in the Great White North right now, except for, funny little anecdote right now. I had a family member just have to fly down to the United States for the first time since all this stuff kicked off. They had a little bit of a problem, trying to cross the border, because check this one, they still had to show their papers. Still had to show their jab papers, if you can actually believe that. Only got the first dose, but that's apparently good enough. That happened back in 2021. It was never about your health. It was always about compliance. It still is, for whatever reason. So peek this. Canadian military demands U.S. podcaster, you don't have jurisdiction here, stupid, delete an interview with the sniper who took the world record 2.2 mile kill shot in Mosul after the ex-commando spoke out against vaccine mandates. Can you believe that? But I was trying to think about this. It's like, okay, well, there could be a clause, if he's not allowed to talk about this type of stuff, any sort of sensitive information, they could just find a certain way to misconstrue what enlisted men can and cannot talk about. But Alexander left the Canadian military in protest over vaccine and mask mandates. They have no jurisdiction. They have no reason to pull this type of rank. God, Canada, man, you're just so pathetic. Canadian military has demanded an American podcaster delete his interview with the former Special Forces operator who made the longest sniper kill shot on record, claiming it revealed classified information, by saying that he doesn't like vaccine mandates, he doesn't like the government forcing stupid things. Bro, it's not the case. Shawn Ryan, a podcaster and retired Army Navy SEAL, last week published his interview with Dallas Alexander, a former commando with Canada's elite Joint Task Force 2, which came forward to reveal that he made the world record shot in 2017, which killed an ISIS fighter in Mosul. 2.25 mile kill shot. Yo, that's some skill. In a letter on February 10th, a legal advisor for Canada's Special Operations Forces Command demanded Ryan delete the podcast, and he's like, delete this, which contained a video clip of the record shot, alleging it contained classified information. Also, 2017 video being played on a foreign podcast ain't gonna happen. Why don't you go talk with the new boss at YouTube, see what he can do about that. Ryan said that he had decided to temporarily remove the interview to review it for anything that might compromise personnel or ongoing operations, but accused Canada of trying to censor Alexander for criticizing CAF vaccine mandates. I believe that this is their attempt to silence Dallas from explaining that he left the command for refusing the COVID jab. Ryan told in a Twitter post, however, it was ultimately my decision to pull the video. Yeah, former enlisted man wanted to go over that. There's nothing wrong with that, but he removed that. Okay, interesting. Alexander, in a video statement on Instagram, also slammed the Canadian request to censorship, saying, in all aspects of censorship, the common theme is, this is dangerous information to somebody, therefore we need to censor it. Yeah, that sounds all too familiar now, doesn't it? We've seen a lot of that over the past few years. That's a smart man right there. Canadian Special Forces Command did not immediately respond to requests for comment. No, you're supposed to. And take down your request too, because that's hurtful. The podcast episode in question contained a brief, grainy clip depicting the world record sniper shot, which Alexander took in May of 2017 using the Macmillan TAC-50 rifle. Now, the bullet traveled 2.2 miles, speeding through the air for nearly 10 seconds. Yo, imagine hearing that, okay? Off in the distance, you're just trying to do your terrorist shit out in the middle of the desert. You're just talking to Abdul and my rocks and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden you hear, then you wait, and you wait. You wait, you wait, and you wait, and you wait, and you wait, and you still got another 5 seconds before eventually you just end up dropping dead and covering your fellow jihadist, and whatever brain matter just explodes off the top of your dome. Holy. But yo, he was on the move as well. Yo, this was a G. But yeah, it flew through the air for nearly 10 seconds before striking and killing an ISIS member as he left a building to enter a vehicle. Yo, that better have gotten a replay, because that's definitely play of the game. It is the longest recorded sniper kill in history, and the Canadian government revealed at the time that it had disrupted an imminent attack on Iraqi security forces. However, the record-breaking sniper's identity remained unknown until Alexander recently came forward to speak about his experience in the military and revealed he was the shooter. Yeah, it was kind of like, oh, what's his name there? Robert O'Neill? Nobody knew who actually pulled the trigger that ended the life of Osama bin Laden till several years later, and all of the fatwas finally, just played out. Then he came forward and was like, yeah, that was me. Legal demand letter posted online by Ryan. The Canadian military claimed the podcast episode contained information that is injurious to Canadian national security, national defense, and international relations. I don't like vaccine mandates. Oh my god, you're a tyrant. We don't like that, eh? Cease and desist. Oh, okay, Dallas Alexander, yeah. Hereby notified Department of National Defense, CAF, also known Dallas Blank, also known as Dallas Alexander. Okay. This includes removing the episode from all hosting platforms you have utilized. You have no jurisdiction here at all. Like, yo, he's no longer an enlisted man. This was recorded in the United States in Franklin, Tennessee. I don't know what you think you can do here. Oh, we'll send him a strongly worded note, eh? We'll be the most Canadian people as possible, huh? Hereby notified the Dallas Blank into possession of materials, information, photographic information provided to you over the course of service at CAF. Dallas, any persons or entities assisting and encouraging them. Okay. Oh, with the CAF, the Department of National Defense is willing to work with you to review your podcast, episode 47, 48. To enable you to publish versions that did not contain classified information or breach any applicable rights or obligations. What do you think's more likely? There was classified materials on both of those episodes, or it's the Canadian government just being censorious dicks again? Letter further claimed videos and photos that Alexander shared were actually the sole intellectual property of His Majesty the King in right of Canada. Well, it would have been Her Majesty at the time, rest in peace, referring to the UK King Charles. We know, we're part of the Commonwealth still. It was an unusual request, you don't say, Ryan's attorney, Timothy C. Palator, told the Daily Mail. It's not something I would normally expect from the United States military because the U.S., the constitutional principles are very clear. Parlator said his client's right to publish the interview and battlefield footage were firmly protected under free speech and freedom of the press rights guaranteed in the United States Constitution. Yep. There you go, man. There's a certain sense of irony that says this is the property of His Majesty the King when he wrote the Constitution because we did not like being under a king. With all respect to Charles, lol. The attorney said Ryan was voluntarily working with the Canadian officials to learn exactly in the podcast they consider sensitive in order to put the episode back online. Trying to do what's best for everybody, Ryan explained in the video statement on his YouTube channel. Will continue to push back hard, giving Canadian unit an allotted amount of time to review the classified information in the episode. Ryan wrote in a tweet, we cannot produce the information If they cannot produce the information needs to be redacted promptly, the episode will go live again unedited and have zero legal obligations to abide by Canadian law. So take it and go straight to hell. That's their response right there, just curtly saying, yeah, we'll do whatever we want. Oh, okay, yeah, so for clarifications on that, Mr. Ryan has voluntarily set the first episode private and it can no longer be accessed. He's also edited the second episode to remove all discussions of operations and will release the edited version tomorrow. I'm sure you have guessed the second episode deals primarily with Mr. Blank's, Alexander's expulsion for the refusal to take the jab, a subject which cannot possibly be considered classified or which would endanger any current operation or active personnel. No, couldn't possibly be that, but yeah, we'll look over what we got right here. Yeah, we'll make sure to do that for you. The now deleted episode, Alexander spoke about his decision to leave the military service over his objection to the jab. Comments he believes drew the Canadian demand to remove the episode. Yeah. In October, after Alexander had already left the military to pursue a music career, Canada ended its long-standing blanket vaccine requirement for military personnel. Change came after the Canadian Defense Department said about 300 service members had been forced out for refusing to get the jab, while another 100 had left voluntarily over the issue. Ryan said in a tweet, "I want to be perfectly clear. I am not an anti-vax individual. In fact, to be enlisted, you have to take several vaccinations, but those are for actually deadly diseases or debilitating, crippling diseases, if you will. I believe in the freedom of choice and the freedom of speech." Yeah, but the Canadian government doesn't. Case and goddamn point. So, with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.